Okay, so today we're going to work on this pretty buffet here. She's in a little bit of rough shape, only that because she has scratches and a few things here and there. But other than that, she's really stable, and I think she's going to be really pretty when we're done. So one thing to note is when I started this buffet, I really wanted to use this beautiful vivacious pink from Debbie's Design Diary paint. I've been wanting to paint something pink for the longest time, just like in the other video. I wanted to paint something green for the longest time. I tend to use a lot of blues and when I paint, so I thought it was time to do something a little bit different. So we're going to start off with this. We're going to add 2 coats of this pretty pink, and we're going to take it from there. Okay, so this is what we have so far. I have 2 coats on one drawer and 1 coat in other areas, and I'm going to start on the top. As you can see, the top has ring watermarks, and this is one of the other reasons why I decided to paint this piece instead of just doing anything else to it. I paint all of my pieces in my shop, and therefore I can't sand because there's other things in the shop. Sanding makes a mess. This is just another alternative. Plus, I love painting pieces. I love giving them a whole new, entirely different look. Okay, so using the same brush, I'm going to use this gold color paint. You can use any brand of gold paint. This is not something that I carry in my shop. It's just something that I like to use from time to time. The brand that I use does not have gold paint. So I'm just going to do 2 coats of this and just on the bottom, and I'm going to try to blend this into the pink. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so here we're going to repeat the process, but now I'm going to add white on top of that gold paint that I just added. And yes, I'm blending it in, and yes, the gold paint is still wet. And this is how I'm going to get this gold paint and the white to kind of, come together and create this kind of soft look. And with this white, we're going to continue all the way from one end to the buffet to the other, covering up the gold. So the next thing, I'm going to use this golden ticket. It's different than the gold paint, and it has a little bit of a different hue. And since I think pink and gold go great together, we're going to add this over the white, which was over the pink. This dresser, I have to tell you, by this point, I knew what I had planned on it looking like. It was not really what was going to happen. It had a mind of its own. It's going to do this own thing. And yeah, I just let the furniture talk to me. I think that's a great way to figure out what something should look like. So I have to say this dresser in the end is probably not going to be for everybody because it is pink and it's got gold, but I really did love the way it turned out. I'm just going to add gold accents here and there where I think they fit, and then we're going to continue on to the next step. Next step is, while the paint is still wet, I am going to now brush the paint up towards the top of the dresser, just so that it looks like it's traveling up. I really didn't want a line just going across. I thought that might be a little bit boring. I can't have that. Okay, so the next thing that had to happen, in my opinion, is a little light sanding. And I don't mean the whole piece, just in areas where a piece of furniture would naturally be distressed a little bit, like the bottoms of the drawers or the corners and things like that. I think that it makes it look more authentic. I'm not trying to go for a perfect look. I like imperfectly perfect pieces. And so a little bit of sanding with not a whole lot of the underneath showing, I thought would make this piece look better. Okay, so next I'm going to use some gold Iron Orchid Design transfers. These are great. They are a one-time use, however, but this package comes with a bunch of different styles that you can add to your furniture, whatever it is that you're working on. See, it has several sheets. I am going to pick the finicky box, and I am going to put it right in the middle. So at first I want to make sure that it covers the area that I want it to. Is it big enough and all of that? So I'm going to just try to figure out where I want it just by putting it in front of the piece that I'm working on. Okay, so once you place your transfer where you want it, you're just going to rub with this plastic thingy here that comes with this transfer. Then when you gently pull the transfer back, you're going to see that the part of the transfer that's supposed to stay on the piece is there, and it just looks amazing sometimes. Sometimes you do have to put that sheet back on and rub a little bit harder because it might not have transferred. And that's okay. You're just going to push that back down and rub a little bit more. Sometimes it doesn't come off that sheet in the one try, but for the most part, it does. And I really, really love this gold transfer. If it was on a darker color, I think it would show up more. But we're not done with this. Let's see where this goes. So the next thing was to just add the hardware back on. I think it's time. Everything is dry, and we're going to go take our next steps as soon as we get all this hardware back on. Okay, so once I put that hardware back on, I grabbed my flathead screwdriver and instead of using sandpaper this time, just gently scraped off a little bit more paint off the edges of the drawers and up on top a little bit where it says the Finicky Fox to make it look a little bit more rustic and like it's been around for a while. Just take off the paint. I try to do it where it would naturally wear out. And so it gives it that look that it's not brand new and it is perfectly imperfect, like I like it. So now I'm going to mix golden tickets with a little bit of dark and decrepit patina. And once I get that all mixed, I'm going to put it over the bottom half where I painted with the gold. I just want to darken this up a little bit. So here we go. I know this buffet, looks like what the heck is going on, but I like to experiment as I go along. I'm not worried about things not coming out how I like them to, because I know it's just paint and I can always paint over it and totally change the look of this dresser. And I enjoy painting, so this is all good. And I want to encourage you guys to not be afraid to try new things. For example, this should be brushed on, but here I am, I brushed it on, and now I'm, smearing it with a rag. That's okay. I wanted to get some of it on the bottom and some on the top like it's crawling up. So I like that kind of look on pieces. So again, don't be afraid to try new things. Nothing really bad is going to happen. Once this dried, I decided to, I don't even think it dried completely, to sand it a little bit. I wanted some of what was on the bottom to come through. And I still thought that it was a little bit too dark where the top was pink and then there's that yellow tone line coming through. So I added more pink onto the golden ticket and dark and decrepit. You'll see. And this just kind of softened it up just a little bit. And again, this is a buffet that's not going to be for everyone. It's kind of got that grunge look and the pink grunge look, and I really love it. I hope you do too. But anyways, you can do something like this in any color and it'll work out just fine. Next thing I did was the sides. I wanted to add this Harlequin decoupage paper. This was the last sheet I had, and I actually had to cut it in half to get it on both sides of the dresser. And the problem with that is that it was still going to leave some areas where there should be paper and there wasn't going to be because there wasn't enough paper. But that's okay. I really, really wanted to use this paper. I liked the way it looked against the pink. But I think I had a solution. And, so before I skip ahead, I kind of measured this out. And it wasn't tall enough, but it was definitely long enough. So once I kind of situated it to where I thought I was going to glue this, I just kind of marked where I had to cut again to make it fit into this square right here. I use Mod Podge. You can use clear patina also for this. I did use the Mod Podge, and I just put it in the middle. You want to work in sections when you have a bigger surface area because you want to try and minimize the bubbles that you'll get, which is when there isn't enough glue underneath, and that's what's going to create the air bubbles. So once I have it on there, I'm just going to smooth it out with my hands. And then even a brayer helps, as long as you go gently, and then you're going to be smoothing out all the wrinkles. As for the edges, you add the glue after you get the middle, and then it's kind of like you're working from the middle out. Okay, moving on. I decided that the pink needed some wax. I could do clear wax and it would stay as bright as it is, or I could use some dark wax and darken up that pink, and that's what gives it kind of the grungy look. I know this looks like a hot mess, right? There's all this dark wax on top of this pink piece, but once it dries, it does lighten up a little bit. And again, I didn't want it to be this bright. I wanted it to be a little bit darker, although I might paint another piece and keep it this bright pink. Okay, so for that, the side that I was telling you about where there should be paper, but there isn't paper on the side of this buffet, I decided that I was going to cover the exposing piece where there should be paper with some of these rose molds from Iron Orchid Design, and they're paper clay. They're fun to use, but I do have to say that the more intricate the mold is, sometimes it's a little bit harder to pull up all in one piece. But if you are careful and gentle and patient, which sometimes it's very hard for me, you can totally do it. So this has got this right here, it's got a lot of like rose detail. And I'm going to just grab the clay. I like to warm it up in my hands a little bit, roll it into a ball, and then we're going to just kind of get it into that mold. So once you're done getting your paper clay into the mold, you're just going to gently pull it out by pulling the mold back. Once it's out, you're going to be so happy because it really is pretty. And these look great painted, obviously. Can't wait to show you. Okay, so I have some painter's tape prepared because once I get this mold on this piece, because it's standing up, it's going to want to slide down. So once I get the glue on the back of this mold, I am going to put the tape over it just to keep it in place until the glue has fully dried and everything stays in place where it's supposed to be. Yeah, so what I did want to tell you is that I use wood glue to keep the mold in place. Okay, moving on to the next step. There's a piece here of this paper where it tore a little bit. All I'm going to do is just add a little bit of pink. I know it looks like it's out of place, but again, I'm trying to make this look like it's an older piece, and it looks like this pink coming through, so it does work out. I did paint the roses pink, the same pink as I did the dresser, and then after that I did add some golden roux wax, but I also, after I painted it pink, did use some dark and decrepit just to tone it up and make it cohesive with the rest of the dresser. And I also, for the very first time, used gold leaf. Never used it before, and I wanted to get it on some of the roses. I didn't want to cover it completely, but I did put it on the rose mold here and there. And once I did that, I found super easy and really pretty. It is blingy. I did find this easy to use. The instructions were easy also. This was my first time. So there's a special glue that you buy. You put that on, and then you put the gold leaf on, and then you just sort of brush it off. So it wasn't a difficult thing to use. So almost done. Last thing to do is just some finishing touches. I added a little bit of more dark and decrepit in certain areas, especially in places where that has nooks and crannies where you can just sort of wipe it in. But that's pretty much it. I am happy with the way this came out, even though it wasn't my plan. This wasn't my plan from the very beginning, but it's okay. It all worked out well, I think, and I really love it. I hope you do too.